Hey Mim.
Hey Scarlett.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Style Over Substance.
We're just two friends talking about our experiences working inside the fashion industry and also our observations from outside the fashion industry. It's sometimes serious, but it's definitely always a good laugh.
Always. We release new episodes every Tuesday.
So subscribe on your favourite podcast listening platforms. I was talking about for my birthday, I bought myself these planners.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so my obsession has spiraled out of control.
So have you still got two?
No
comment.
Oh
no. How many have you got?
Okay, so I've got three, but I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop there, honestly. So I'll take it back a few weeks because I said to you, I can't buy myself clothes for my birthday. But I've always used a personal diary, and I've been quite simple and quite functional about diaries. I've never bought into the fuss of them and whatnot. And so this year I thought, 30, big year, big girl, I'm going to buy myself something a bit more fancy.
Yeah.
And so I did. I bought one that was for work. Quite simple, it's cream or white. Yeah. And then I bought myself another one, which is Filofax, which was more expensive, for my personal life, different sections of my life. And I started watching all these videos of middle American stay-at-home mum with a few kids. They homeschool them. They're big into planning.
Yeah, I love it.
Women who are just polar opposites.
I love planner videos.
You watch them?
A lady that I used to follow on YouTube created a sticker business that was for planners.
Listen,
and it's a bit addictive. And actually on TikTok, I first got into TikTok watching people make planners.
No, honestly, it's a whole. So I started watching these videos thinking, this is a whole new world for me.
Yeah,
I think I can take bits and bobs here and there and learn from these women, and just take, I'm not obsessed with it, but
so a lot of the women always use it as a scrapbook, don't they?
Yeah. They do they have all these terms. They have vellum and dashboards and what is it, bullet journaling and all this stuff. And I thought, you guys are batshit crazy, but I'm just here to get some good pointers. Yeah. And now I'm I need an inbox tab. I don't know. I need dashboards. I have transparent stickers and transparent Post-it notes now.
Yes.
What else do I have? I bought highlighters.
So what's your third diary or planner for?
Okay, so exposing me. This is part of it. So I got so absorbed into it and I saw other people's planners and stuff. And then I bought, so the second one I bought for my personal life is it's an A5 size, Filofax. But
the second one I bought for my personal life.
And spoiler alert, I don't have much of a personal life, but so that was my second one. Third one is because I liked the Filofax. It's a croc finish, croc print.
Yeah.
I liked it so much. I was I think I need a smaller version. So
like a bag.
Yeah. So it's not a pocket size. It's not that really small one. It's what they call a personal compact size.
Ooh, okay.
Smaller rings. See, this is how far I am.
So do you have to duplicate writing in both?
No, because one, for my bag, because you have to have different uses for them. Otherwise,
Otherwise it's a lot of admin.
Yeah. I'm not that batshit crazy. So the small one, the personal size, if it's my bag, is for when I'm out and I need to make lists of where I'm going and what I need to get and or when I for example, I went to Birmingham the other day and my phone was kaput. I wrote down the address of the office and when you travel, you actually have to write certain stuff down. Otherwise, you could get lost in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Just stuff like that. It's day to day. I just need to note things down.
Nice.
Yeah. It's so expensive, this hobby.
No, but you've incurred hopefully the cost now, other than stickers.
Have I incurred what costs?
Like you've incurred the cost now for the year of your diaries and planners.
Yeah, honestly. And I'm pretty sure that those of us who watch luxury fashion videos, you come across one girl who buys the Louis Vuitton agenda. That's like how a lot of people get initiated into this planner world. Those are ridiculously expensive. They're like 400, 500 pounds. And yeah, so you probably see that. And then the highlighters need to be different shades of like neutrals.
Yeah.
I've got that now.
We've got a drawer that's just full of sort of like, you know, pens, like random bits of stationery, and all of those like certain pens that I've bought for various planner or book projects that just have all ended because I don't have that much time on my hands.
Oh yeah. But
one day I will be ready for my pastel themed.
Yeah, it's got to be coordinated.
Yeah, it? I know.
Oh yeah.
What's your fashion story? So it's Kim Kardashian at the Balenciaga show.
Oh,
have you seen it?
I haven't. I'm so behind on all these shows, if I'm honest, but I have seen a clip of her outfit that she wore.
So essentially, she sort of was in her standard Batman outfit without the mask, and then they basically duct taped her with Balenciaga tape.
Mm-hmm.
And then she actually posted a video of people doing it and all of that. And then she also posted a video after the show sort of saying she got cut out the outfit and she's keeping it and blah, 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 blah. But I just feel like something's brewing. She has done so much with Balenciaga. Mm-hmm. It is there's so much going on there that I'm like, is she about to be announced creative director?
Oh,
or like,
God, no.
What is going on? You know, like what is going on here? I hope not. I really hope not. I very much doubt it because Balenciaga is too big for that. But I think a collaboration or just something's got to be on its way for her unwavering support.
Thing is,
Balenciaga.
Yeah, it could just be that they pay her a lot because she recently had a collaboration with Fendi for Skims. And that was a big deal. And she's never going to be named creative director of these massive brands because they have creative directors who actually creatively direct. So I don't think she's going to get that job title, but it could just be that it's really profitable for her to be so tightly, like, I don't know, I
just feel like she's very much like she had an aesthetic and then she got a bit more like fashion-y. And then she just took like a left turn down Balenciaga Avenue. Mm-hmm. And like every now and then it sort of made sense for her to make those like little fashion risks. But since like sort of end of last year, she's just been like a little Batman.
I actually really like the looks. I'm not talking about the duct tape one. I just mean like in general. I've really liked them. And maybe it's a thing with age that after a while, you know, you've tried all the trends, you've done all the looks, and you find out what suits
to one.
And you just want uniform. That's all. You just want to take out your pink catsuit with your pink feather boa, dry clean that once a week, and that is what you're wearing. And I don't blame her.
Hashtag relatable. But yeah, there's a real commitment there, but yeah.
Well, I would be interested to see what happens.
Watch this space. And so what is your fashion story?
Well, of course, over the past week or so, we've had some big politics happening. We've had an invasion of one country by a much larger country. And that said larger country, Russia, is a big player when it comes to luxury consumers. We all know billionaire Russians, and, you know, we go on holiday to different parts in Europe and Russians are there to spend and enjoy life. And off the back of like what's been happening politically, we've seen a lot of brands at large and also some luxury brands kind of take a step back and say, whether it's for moral reasons or for logistic reasons, they've kind of stepped back and said, we can no longer operate in Russia right now. A bit cryptic. I don't know if they're making, some of them, I don't know if they're making a moral stand, but nonetheless, they're like, we can't operate in Russia right now. We're closing our stores, in brackets, for the foreseeable future, but we'll ensure that our store teams are taken care of.
Yeah.
And so kind of the question that I had is, how will this impact, I guess, like Russia as an economy, and then people who like really want to buy into these luxury brands who live there? Because of COVID, we're not traveling as much. And so I think like places like China domestically and like Russia domestically, normally people go out of their home country to spend. Now they're probably spending more at home because they don't travel as much. And it's interesting that these stores have decided that they don't want to, I suppose, support the economy, but then it kind of sucks for just normal everyday Russians who have nothing to do with this, you know? And yeah, I mean, we've seen other things with like the Russian economy and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting now that luxury brands in recent years have not shied away from politics of what's happening. They're like donating to causes. They're posting stuff on their socials and saying, we pledge to do this, that, and the third, and try to seem like they're doing something morally, when we know a lot of these brands are still amoral in a lot of senses, whether it's like how they pay their workers or production or environmentally and all this stuff. So it's just been interesting to watch. What's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's been some sort of background chatter that we probably aren't privy to when it comes to this, because there does seem to be a real theme of almost like taking things away from the average Russian person in this circumstance, and they're sort of doing nothing wrong, but there seems to be a game plan in place to punish the country as a whole, to sort of hopefully make, I'm guessing, Putin sort of think twice, or that seems to me like that's got to be the game plan. But you're right, I actually hadn't really thought about how much extreme wealth there is in Russia. There's obviously currently there's the thing with Roman Abramovich, and he's selling Chelsea Football Club because of his ties with Putin, that he's denied anyway, but I'm guessing if he's selling the club, then maybe real. But you forget that, their economy is really going to suffer. And, you know, there are these people who have extreme wealth really keep the world ticking over, and the likes of luxury goods, you know, I think it's a big thing for these brands to sort of withdraw, because there must be so many wealthy people with money in Russia, or they got their wealth in Russia, and so that might now be at risk with the current state of affairs and the fact that the ruble now is sort of going down in value and plummeting. So it's a very bold decision anyway. I think it is all political, and I think we live in a world now, you even just see it with like actors that if like a certain person dies or whatever, like everyone thinks they have to comment on it, right?
Yeah.
Or even like the climate in Ukraine, everyone feels like they're meant to sort of make their little political statement on it.
Yeah, sure.
And then that trickles down even to like our friendship circles or whatever, that it almost feels like, oh, if you don't acknowledge it, are you like,
you're a bad person?
Yeah, you're a bad person. It's sort of, it's a funny thing because we almost sort of react, we almost take our inspiration from these influencers or famous people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what that means for those brands and those countries. I'm really hoping it's just a part-time thing until this blows over or gets resolved.
So there was an article I read by the Fashion Law, and they were reporting that people had been panic buying luxury because like the ruble had been, I think since Monday, it actually quoted that the value of the ruble had gone down like 30%. And it was like 110 rubles to the US dollar. So people are like panic buying. I mean, it sounds funny because you have to be really, really rich to think my money is devaluing and I really need to make sure I can get as much luxury as possible.
Yeah.
Most people are thinking about like, shit, how am I going to buy food? And you're like, damn it, how am I going to buy this Dior? Like, I better buy it now.
Take me to Chanel now.
You know what I mean? So it is clearly like how the other half live if those are your priorities in times of like economic distress. But yeah, I just thought, I was just reading the article and I was thinking, reading these posts made by these luxury brands, I really do hope that they take care of their store assistants, because we all know store assistants and store managers are some of the lowest paid people. You know, yeah, you get your bonuses and whatnot, but for many people it's you work a regular job when you work for these luxury brands, and it's not an easy job, and you're not raking in, you're not, you know, raking in loads of money. And so if your store closes, you know, it's like the rest of us, you can only really last like a month max and pay all your bills. I really hope they do actually take care of them, and while the store is closed they still pay their salary or something.
I'll find them another store in a nearby country or something, you know.
Yeah,
give them an option or an opportunity.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, war is not really like brought on by just
civilians. No, especially not this. Yeah, it's like it's, and actually, I mean, obviously it affects everything, but it's weird that it has even an impact on that world. You know, like it affects everything. And that there's businesses having to worry about that and that's not even the country that the problem's actually happening in.
Yeah,
you know, so like it's crazy to see how big of an impact these sort of decisions and these actions have. Even when it comes to like something as fickle or as whatever as luxury goods. They've got to protect themselves as a brand. And I guess also, like you said, if someone's suddenly like, right, well, it keeps devaluing, so I'm going to suddenly buy this now and then I can sell it on, and you don't want people diminishing it or lowering the value in that country of certain things either.
That's a good point, because I can imagine that those who already own high value goods will go on to sell the items if they need the money, and that would devalue a brand in that particular country. You're right.
We interrupt this broadcast to say, go follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @StyleOverSubstancePod. There you'll find our weekly fashion topics, all the stuff that we discuss in each episode, and our polls.
Or reach out to us at StyleOverSubstancePodcast@gmail.com for new suggestions of topic discussions, or even to share your own fashion stories. We also have a YouTube channel, Style Over Substance Podcast, if you'd rather listen to our episodes over there.
Back to the episode. Okay, so for today's main topic, I was at a wedding this weekend and we very much have been enjoying sort of responding to things in our lives or around us. So we're doing another wedding topic this week. So we previously discussed sort of brides and bridal fashion and where bridal trends have come from. But we thought we'd discuss sort of wedding etiquette for guests and just general fashion faux pas at weddings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I feel like weddings are back.
They're back, yeah.
I mean, I'm never invited to weddings, but I do have 2 this year.
Well, then you're not never invited.
Well, this is the first time. I just haven't attended them yet.
Yeah, but it's only sort of around this age starts, you know?
I suppose. Yeah, maybe. My sister went to a wedding recently as well. And she told me a story. I'll tell you later. But she told me a story about what some people were wearing. And, you know, what's appropriate at a wedding to wear. And that sort of falls into that kind of conversation. But either way, weddings are difficult, I think. It's, as we've discussed before, it's like the biggest event that you attend. It can be the biggest event of your life. And so what you wear and how you turn up can be really tricky to navigate, because not only are there a number of dress codes, and then they can be destination weddings, they can be weddings at castles or like other exotic locations. They can be they can be themed. And then you almost feel like when you attend someone else's wedding, you have to kind of represent them and not let them down. So yeah, it's really tricky.
That's so true. I definitely feel that. And obviously every person's different as well. So you sort of want to represent your friend or your loved one in various different ways. And also that's not how we dress these days. We don't get that formal too often.
Yeah.
So to find something that you still feel like yourself in, but still think is appropriate for that person's general like vibe for the wedding or their sort of their dress code can be really difficult. And also, you know, like that depending on the time of year, and yeah, it's really, really tough because I'm not used to seeing myself really formal, and it does feel like a lot of pressure. So for context, the wedding that I've just been to, I was one of the bridesmaids, but I was able to choose my own dress, and it's a really good friend of mine, and I felt so much in my head, and it sounds really vain, but I kind of wanted to be able to look back on the pictures in 10 years and not be like, God, what did I wear? You know, because like, she hopefully will be a friend in my life for a long time. And you kind of don't want to look back on these big milestones and be like, wow, that was awful, you know? Yeah. Especially when it's your choice. It's a bit different maybe if someone tells you what to wear. You know, you can only feel so good in that, or you can't be too offended by that. Because if it's a generic bridesmaid dress or something that everyone's wearing and it's the greater consensus of everybody, but when you're picking what you're going to wear, whether you're a guest, whether you're not, like I can't even imagine being like mother of the bride, you know, and having to pick that look and hope that is something that you don't regret wearing.
Yeah, no, you've touched on some good points, because a number of things there is like, one, the pressure that you put on yourself, because you're right, it's pictures that you will look back on in years to come, and you do want to look good. And also for me, like the idea of someone else forcing me to wear what I consider to be a bad bridesmaid dress is worse. Like, honestly, like that is one of my biggest like fears of being a bridesmaid. And it's not even to say that I think I always pick out the best clothes for me and I always
I don't know if you can make your peace at that a bit more though, maybe.
I guess so. It's the idea of like 5 of us all having to wear, and in my mind, this is what I envision when if I were ever asked to be a bridesmaid, I always think of like the bride asking all us women to wear this like pastel-y coloured dress, and I don't think I suit blush colours, blush tones, and I can just imagine it. And then they're making me wear like a what is it, like a sweetheart neck, like, or like a bandeau dress, and I've already expressed that I don't think I have the bust for it. So just like the shape and the colour being something that looks bad on me but great on other people, and then just being like, yeah. And then they go and they say like, you have to have your hair like this, and we need your shoes to be like this, and then you just get lost in this very generic, shaped, styled bridesmaid dress. Oh my God, but yeah, so that is my absolute nightmare. But I think another thing you said, which I thought was really good, and you should probably like elaborate on, is the fact that you could all choose your own dress.
Yeah, so it's funny because actually someone came up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, like how did you find that? I think they were planning their own wedding and they were thinking of maybe doing a similar thing. And so the reason behind my friend wanting to do it was thinking, you know, I've chosen people that I really care about. Why would I put them in a dress like you just described and make them all the same, because they're totally different personalities, and that's not maybe what they put themselves in, and different people suit different things. And also I think from her experience herself, she was a bridesmaid and probably definitely wouldn't have chosen what she got put in. And I actually would say I've been quite fortunate. I've liked the bridesmaids dresses that I've worn. Would I have necessarily chosen them? I don't know, because I haven't had to choose that. And also there's a really fortunate thing of not having to worry about what you choose in those moments, because actually, as much as I loved that I could choose what I wore, and I really felt like I wore something that expressed who I was, and I really liked it, and I think I'll wear it again, I felt a lot of pressure. I felt a lot of pressure to find the right dress. And once I found it, it was great. But before finding it, I found it really difficult, because our brief was sort of Sex and the City vibes. So each person had a different block colour. And it's really hard to find a block colour dress for one that isn't like a pale pastel bridesmaid's dress.
And it was a jewel tone, was it? Also,
so we all ended up in jewel tones. Originally, that wasn't sort of planned, but after 1 or 2 colours got chosen, we then ended up in like a jewel tone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, so basically I got, if you haven't watched Sex and the City, the bridesmaids, I think there's black, red and cobalt blue is what the girls wear. And
the Carrie's wedding. Yeah.
The Carrie's wedding. And I was designated red. And everyone hates the girl who wears red at a wedding. You know, it's a very look at me colour. And I was like, guys, and this is part of the bride's mum. She's like, someone's got to be Samantha. And so I managed to find like a muted dark red dress, which wasn't so look at me, as like a bright vivid red dress. But I really felt like myself. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I really feel like it worked out really nicely. And there was still there was almost that thing that once you've done that awful bit of walking down the aisle, you almost then became a guest. As somebody who doesn't want to really be the center of attention, and the day is not about me, I don't want it to be. I just want to blend in then with everyone else, and it not be really obvious that that I'm a bridesmaid or anything like that. And I think also my other I've been bridesmaid 3 other times, and they're all full-length dresses. And
you can't wear those again.
Well, the only time I maybe would is a wedding, and then that I just kind of feel like I can't because
you wore it as someone else.
Yeah. And so I probably won't wear them again necessarily, unless I go to like a ball or a gala. But also, let's be honest, I'll probably buy something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it really feels nice to have something. And also, I think then you can put however much you want to put into it, you can. If that's in effort, if that's in style, if that's in money, if that's in whatever, in time searching, or if you just settle on what you like first, you can put in what you want. And yeah, I think it worked really well.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I'll tell you a funny story that a family friend at the wedding, I was speaking to him, and he was like, so would you have picked this dress for yourself?
What? He just asked you that out of the blue?
Yeah. So I think, well, you'll see. I was like, I did. And it's like, oh, weren't you all wearing the same thing? And when I say we couldn't be further from wearing the same dress, one was in black, one was in like turquoise green, one was in pink, I was in dark red, very different styles of dresses. But this guy had obviously sort of like had this like pre kind of conversation topic ready of like, oh, bridesmaid, everyone wears the same dress. And I just come with so funny. He'd come with like already the question without really taking in what had happened. And I was like, I did choose this.
He came to chat you up.
No. Like he's like a 6-year-old man.
Well,
No. He was more meaning like, I just didn't take you guys in. He was like, I didn't mean it badly. I wasn't registering what you were wearing. I just was probably creating conversation. But yeah, I think, I don't know. There's so many different rules for weddings and etiquette.
In kind of researching about this topic and just reading more about it and thinking about weddings I've been to, I realised just how many different dress codes there are potentially for a wedding. If you go on brides.com, they actually break down the different dress codes and what they mean, and like the levels at which men and women have to dress. And I just found it really interesting. So
they tend to be dictated by, well, they obviously are dictated by the bride and groom, but it tends to also be a reflection on what they'll be wearing. So and also the venue as well. And the general vibe, it's not going to be some like rustic table. Well, you wouldn't assume it'd be some rustic marquee, but then it's tails and and sort of like a boho chic decor, but then tails and cocktail dresses.
Yeah. So that actually reminds me, just slightly off topic of dress codes, but it when you go to a wedding or you see pictures of other weddings and you always catch those people in the background who like didn't make an effort at all, whether it's to like follow the dress code or just like the sort of people who would turn up to the church in like jeans and trainers, and you're like, not the day, mate.
So one of the bridesmaids clocked her boyfriend and she was like, he's the only person here not wearing a tie. She's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Oh, like, no.
The only person in this whole place who just didn't put on a tie.
Oh my God. Was it like just...
It wasn't it wasn't obvious. There weren't... Well, I didn't really ever clock it. And he wasn't part of the wedding party, so it's fine. But I think she was kind of like, how did he not read the room?
Yeah. I think definitely older generations will clock it.
Yeah.
Because especially for men, like
it's simple. Just put on a suit, shirt, tie.
Not
it's
just
pretty
that,
simple,
but like I think there's a better understanding of what men wear under different dress codes, and just everyone has
it's
suits.
more clear.
Everyone has different levels of suits, and they can always pull out a particular suit for a particular occasion.
So true.
Whereas I think maybe for us and younger, that knowledge isn't there because men don't wear suits day to day anymore. So to like go into your wardrobe and be like, if it's someone's wedding, I know I can wear that tie. I know I can wear that suit. So he probably didn't own something that was appropriate, or he thought that he could just like, oh, it's not a big deal. I can just
already wear. Well, he's probably also someone who day to day doesn't have to wear a suit. So that already probably feels quite formal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whereas some people every day wear a suit, shirt and tie. So that doesn't feel overly formal.
Yeah, I think that there's like a lack of knowledge there because as a whole, like not just for men, but for women as well, we are not accustomed to wearing formal wear or just smart wear, really. A really low bar for us.
Yeah.
We're just not used to like wearing that level of dress. But so I'm going to go through the different types of dress codes that there are for weddings.
Yeah.
And I want you to give me your thoughts on them. So, of course, you've got black tie, and that involves a black bow tie.
Yeah.
And sometimes like a penguin suit, let's say, for men. And then you've got pretty much a ball gown, a long full length dress for women.
Yeah. I mean, that's very, very formal, isn't it? I wouldn't know what to wear to something like that.
Yeah, and also I think with that,
these days you turn up and everyone would be in just a slinky like satin
dress. Like a slip dress.
Yeah.
I think with that as well, what the bride and groom are wearing has to like overshadow
really
all the bow ties and all the tops and tails and all the like the ball gowns that the guests are wearing. You cannot be putting black tie on your dress code for your guests if you are not pulling out all the
He's
stuff.
got to then be wearing like the white jacket or something, surely.
Yeah, he'd have to wear the white jacket. She'd have to have
or like some snazzy velvet number, and she's gonna have to be like bedazzled or something, like some tiara or like a beacon. They both have to. I think you have to be able to look around the room and they stand out.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it's not just about the venue, but you also have to have like a sit down dinner.
Yeah,
that's like served to you a la carte, and you've got to have like a cocktail hour, don't you?
Yeah.
Before it dictates so much of the overall vibe and what people will expect, because if you put black tie on an invite for me, I'm gonna expect a pretty fancy wedding.
Yeah
That's
so true, actually. Like it really it conjures up an idea, and so there'll be high expectations to attend a wedding like that.
And then the gifts you have to give them.
So I remember I once heard that the etiquette is that you're sort of meant to gift what you think they've paid for you to attend that wedding.
Really? I didn't know about this.
I don't know if this is a thing, but I once heard it and I thought that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
So whatever you think that it's cost them, I think it's mainly the meal.
Yeah.
Whatever like your head being included would cost them is sort of what you're meant to gift, which would be a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I gift.
Because you could easily be like 100, be like 80 to 100 pound a head.
And then if you're in a couple
also, and if it's a very swanky venue, then what? That's like 400 pounds.
And obviously, like, I don't know if this is a thing, but I remember I once heard it and I thought sort of, I guess, does make sense in some regards. Expectations on your dress codes and all that. So what's the one down from black tie?
So down from black tie, we have formal, which is the most common version, essentially. And I think for most people, they don't even realize that formal is not the most formal option.
Yeah.
And that's essentially a suit.
For me, yeah, formal is just smart.
Yeah. It's a dress, it's heels, it's a suit, it's a long tie as opposed to a bow tie.
Yeah. So I would say in that dress code personally, and I would say that was probably the dress code of the wedding that I was at, I would say your dress should be like longer than your knees.
Yeah.
I feel like you should be aiming for at least a midi length dress in that situation.
Yeah, a midi. Or like an ankle.
Or if like it shouldn't be classified as short.
I hear you.
Because they were like, I remember one of the guests saying to me, there are 3 dresses I think that's inappropriate today. and they were all the ones that were mini dresses. And like, don't get me wrong, like the people still looked nice, but it was just a different tone, and it was just.
It's so funny though. It's like weddings, you know, you have 2 sets of friendship groups, 2 sets of family coming together, and it's so easy to be so judgmental as well.
Yeah, for sure.
People, and you come into contact with people you've never met before, and you're like, don't know what she was thinking. Like, you sit at your table and you're like, what on earth are they wearing? Like, how could they do that?
Yeah.
My sister recently went to a wedding actually last weekend. So not one just gone, but the one before. And that was at like a stately home. Like the venue from the pictures that I saw was like incredible. It was like really ornate from the inside, kind of Edwardian from the outside.
Wow.
And so the girl's family, she was Ghanaian, and the boy's family, he was from Philadelphia in the States. So it was kind of like 2 different cultures, because she was doing what her family knew to be like a traditional wedding, and he was doing like the normal kind of church kind of style. That was their like different approaches to weddings. Anyway, his mother of the groom, who can sometimes want to upstage the bride and stuff, but she changed actually, because there were a number of changes at the reception, and she changed her into an outfit, and it was a short dress with a deep V in the front, long sleeve, and it was sequined and had like multicolored sequins. Yeah. And my sister said that she looked good, but she was dressed for the club. Do you know what I mean? Like on the dance floor in her short dress, like fitted, sequin, multicolored. And I don't know, like.
Yeah, I think that's, I've never understood the appeal. I mean, I guess that takes you're a confident person if you're doing that, and you're not shy of a bit of attention or something.
You're craving attention. That's
to want that. Yeah. And especially, I think it's even more dangerous the closer you become to the bridal or groom party. It's almost like the fewer risks you can afford to take, because it just looks so much more inappropriate coming from the people closest to them.
Yeah.
You know, like a sort of like average wedding guest who maybe got in by the skin of their teeth wearing a slightly short dress isn't really going to set like pulses like, oh my God, what's she like? People might be like, what's she wearing? That's a bit inappropriate, or that's a bit short. It's like, oh my God, her mum is wearing, like, is a very different conversation.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that maybe no one gave her advice on short.
I'm sure she knows better.
Yeah. But it still happened.
Yeah. The mother of the bride, I think, is a really significant look.
Yeah.
As well. And I don't like to be the person who puts like unnecessary pressure on these types of things. But I think that the mother of the bride will have the secondary level of pressure after the bride. It's like, what is the mother wearing?
Yeah. For sure.
So, 4 other styles that we've got for weddings, actually, and let me know your thoughts, because I have to admit I'm not that crazy about them. Unless you're having a beach wedding, I don't think really any of these looks are for me.
Okay.
Semi-formal, which is like a blue suit, brown shoes, like just a nice dress, I suppose. You've got festive, which is obviously like in keeping with a theme, which can be formal. Festive can also be formal, I think. No?
Isn't festive basically festival?
Oh God, what is that?
You know, when people have like festival weddings, like barns.
Oh, maybe
is that not
it
that?
is. Oh, because you maybe
like, which is then quite relaxed.
Probably, yeah. I'm looking at a little drawing and it's really hard to tell. So you got a casual, and then you've got tropical. Now, as I said, if it's a beach wedding, I can get on board with tropical. But my issue is
I still wouldn't want someone just in a flimsy sundress.
No, it needs to be a nice sundress, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because in my head, I'd go formal, but then describe, like, telling people the venue or like giving them an overall theme. They can then find their parameter on that. My flatmate's been invited to a wedding. It's in Barnes. There's lots of outdoor activities. They sort of bring your own booze. And to me, I think formal still works there.
Yeah.
But knowing that it's maybe more of a festival or relaxed vibe means that maybe you can have more fun with print, or, you know, it doesn't have to be. I just think if you relax it too much, there'll always be someone who just takes it to like denim shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Unless that is really what you want, but then I think that's a themed wedding.
Yeah.
If you want people to really dress down, I think that's a theme.
It is, because it is one of the one days, if you're going to invite people and you want to celebrate in a way that you've
much money, you know.
Yeah, and you celebrate in a way that you've never celebrated anything else before. Surely you don't want people turning up like they're going to the high street or they're going to like Sunday lunch.
You want someone to think, should I iron my shirt?
Oh God,
you know,
is that the bare minimum?
No, but I think you don't want someone kind of coming with like.
I think you're right. You can still have one that's in a barn or whatever. It's bring your own booze. People turn up in formal wear, but maybe like, you know how guests might get like flowers that they pin on their suits, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you tell them like the colors are yellow and orange or something. So wear a tie that suits that color, matches that color. Women will wear something that will complement that color. And so when they like, pin on their flower or whatever, it's still in keeping with the theme, but it doesn't feel like you're going to All Bar One on a Saturday. It's true though.
No, I don't know if it's sort of old fashioned of me to think it or whatever, but I do think it's nice for it not just to be something like, oh, I already had this and I guess that will work. And not that you have to buy something new for every wedding, and some people do have lots of formal attire, but I do think it should be something that you think twice about, and like it's not just something that you would just wear down the pub necessarily.
Yeah, you actually reminded me of something, because as I mentioned, I've got a couple weddings this year, one of which is my sister's wedding. And the other one is like a good friend of mine.
I got really confused for a second. I'm with you. I'm back in the room.
Oh yeah, different sister. you would.
I do know. I know.
If it was Eloise,
I would know.
She would.
Shout out to Eloise. We would know if you were getting married.
And because I'm still on my no buying clothes year thing, I'm trying to think about how I can navigate this without buying something. Because at the beginning of this year, I was...
Do you not have anything? What about renting? Does that not negate that? Rent a dress?
To be honest, I haven't actually gone through everything I own.
Yeah.
I probably could find something, if I'm honest. I know there's a dress out there that I've never worn. So, but that's the thing. It's like I started this year thinking, oh, no, I'm allowed to buy a dress to go to the wedding. And now I'm thinking, this is exactly the reason why
you're doing it.
Because I would just opt into buying something new and wear it once.
Yeah.
If I had the freedom to.
I definitely think you'd be allowed to rent something.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like I would feel so much pressure to not spill, so that not destroy it. I know you dry clean it or whatever probably beforehand, but still. But yeah, I do think weddings is probably still that market, and it's not even fast fashion, really, is it? Because you probably buy a bit more into a dress. But it still very much is that main dominating market of I need something new. Yeah. I would happily go on a night out, and if I was still sort of on a clubbing scene, I would happily be seen in similar clothes or the same dress every now and then, or the same top and whatever. That doesn't bother me. But I would probably, for weddings, because they're so few and far between, I probably wouldn't want to be able to directly compare, oh yeah, I wore this 2 years ago to that wedding.
Yeah. That's another thing. You don't want...
Because I guess there's so many pictures. I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
But we think that other people will pull us up and be like, didn't you wear that 2 years ago?
And if someone cares, good for them.
I don't think it even happens.
No, I don't think anyone's ever... And if someone does care, then
the person who would actually say something is my mum. Like, not in a negative way, but she's the only one who would notice something like that. Do you know what I mean? She'd be like, didn't you wear that to... Not like you should have bought something new. Yeah. No one in the world is ever going to message me online or text me and be like, why did you wear the same?
And also, I really hope that actually that gets celebrated soon. And it started happening in the media when it comes to Kate Middleton. That they're like, oh, Kate's recycled this dress for this occasion.
Yeah.
And so it should be something really that gets applauded. But yeah, I do still think weddings are probably that one occasion, but it's almost probably the most wasteful, like you said, because it's a one-time thing.
Yeah. I in my, I watch a lot of nonsense on YouTube, and one of them one of this very niche areas that I've just been like engrossed in is the idea of how different quote unquote classes dress. You get people online who are like, people who are old money dress like this, and people who are like nouveau riche dress like this. I don't live in the upper echelons of society, so I don't know if this is nonsense or if it's actually rooted in fact, but very much the idea of the nouveau riche buys into labels, logos, brands, all of that as a way to prove themselves. Like, I've arrived, I've made it, or I'm just like you, I am to be respected in some way. Whereas it's believed that old money don't have anything to prove because they're part of generational wealth.
Yeah.
And they're more comfortable with wearing things that they've worn before, on a number of occasions.
Well, because probably they know that they've invested in it. They've probably got maybe they've bought themselves a tailored suit.
Exactly.
Got one made for them, and so they sort of rest. They probably don't have that peacocking need, and they're kind of they probably are sat there I had the suit made for me 10 years ago. It's still strong.
And it's a flex to say that it was made for them, and look how well it's holding up.
Your dog just opened and it absolutely killed me.
He doesn't want you to see his titties.
Oh, he can come in.
There's nothing to see. He's joking.
The door went and I literally was like, thought it was in this room. I was like,
it's the kid. He's here.
Oh my god. Yeah. What would you choose to wear for something like a black tie wedding?
Is it okay if I wore black?
Yeah.
Myself?
Quite a few people wore black at this wedding, including one of the bridesmaids.
For me, when I have to dress up,
black is the height of sophistication.
And I feel more dressed up because I feel like it's a sleeker look. I feel like it's a bit more glamorous.
And actually, I will say that I think that's one thing that really has changed. Like, my mum has repeats stuff that sort of her mum might have told her. And it will even be like things like, oh, babies shouldn't wear dark colours. And, you should never wear black to a wedding. But actually, black is really sophisticated and it doesn't have to look gothic or funereal. And also, if that's what someone wants to wear, it's not a negative colour. And so many people, actually, I've seen quite a lot of people where they have their bridesmaids maybe in black or their bridesmaids in white and all the guests are in black. And things like that. And I just think
that's
it's chic. Yeah Very Kris Jenner, isn't it?
What are you wearing?
I don't know, I really don't. Potentially black, or
mind you just went to a formal wedding, so
I know I just said that everyone hates the girl that wears red to a wedding, but I think actually you could wear a red dress or something like that. I mean, I have got loads of long dresses that I could recycle. It's tricky, really tricky. Probably something flouncy, something kind of, I don't know.
You didn't seem so keen on that, but okay.
I just can't imagine myself really. It's so far from what I normally wear. So I'm currently sat in like a jumper and leggings. Yeah. Feels a far cry from what I would ever wear.
But that's all of us,
wedding attire.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to add when it comes to wedding attire? Your thoughts on weddings?
I don't know. I'd be interested maybe to hear if we've missed any sort of wedding faux pas. Is it? I feel like some people would have probably a real thing about like you shouldn't. Some people provide flip-flops for the dance floor. Some people would be like, no,
who does that?
Oh, I've been to weddings where that happens, so that you can take your shoes off.
And they bring their flip-flops?
No, as in like they provide flip-flops for everyone. Like all the ladies to take their heels off.
Oh no, that's a dangerous move. I don't do that because when you try to put your feet back in your heels, game over.
So then other people have like a real like strong opinion. I'm like, no, don't take your shoes off. Like,
I am that person.
And actually, I spent the whole day in these heels. And bearing in mind, we don't wear heels that often these days.
Yeah.
I was bloody amazed, but my legs are still sore. Like,
oh yeah.
But I also actually felt really glad because I was really worried at a previous wedding, sort of in the middle of pandemic life last year. I really struggled to wear heels. And I sort of thought that's like, if I can't wear these for that long, then, my days are over. But I feel like I've still got it. It. There's still an option. I could still live that Sex and the City, tottering around dream. So,
and I just feel like now I don't judge people badly if they take off their shoes, because sometimes you need to take off your shoes. Yeah. But in my mind, I feel like if I were to take them off, I'm ruining the whole look. The effort that I put into this.
So at one point I was looking at other people's shoes to be like, how are they doing this? And also I am a committed dancer, I must say.
Yeah.
But their heel heights were all so much smaller than mine. But I was like, but I wouldn't look nearly as nice in that heel height. It was like one of those things where I was like,
getting flex.
beauty is pain, you know.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
I was like, that height has made me look a little bit, well, I'm tall anyway, but like it makes me look more sophisticated. It completes the look. If they were more of a block heel and like a mid heel, it would not be the same aesthetic. So, you know.
Yeah, I just pretend. I try to pull off the face that like my feet are fine. Don't worry about them. They're comfortable. I really do try and fool myself.
But yeah, I wonder if there are any sort of wedding faux pas that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's loads. I think culturally,
I
think culturally, because weddings are such a religious and culturally significant event, there are always going to be things that people pick at us based on what we're wearing. And yeah, I'm sure in the West broadly, we've become more and more relaxed when it comes to weddings. Like it used to be like the last bastion of formal attire and ceremony and formality and all of that. And now even that is just slowly fading, because as weddings become more expensive, people want to do something more low-key, or they just want to run off to an exotic country and get married.
It's like the last thing we're trying to clutch onto.
Yeah. So we'll have a poll out.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest fashion faux pas you've seen at a wedding? What's culturally what you cannot do, otherwise you run the risk of jinxing the married couple, all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, once someone was like, so how many times have you been a bridesmaid? Because I think the saying goes, 3 times a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yeah, it's like a stigma.
I was like, it's my 4th. So what's the saying for that? 4 times a bridesmaid dies in the morning? Like, what is it?
Oh my God. There was no hope for her. She just gave up.
She just gave
early
up.
Hours of the morning.
She knew she'd never wed.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Tell us all the things, guys.
Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Style Over Substance, guys.
Don't forget to check out our Instagram or Spotify to respond to this week's poll.
Bye.
Bye.